Welcome to this month's housing report for December 2024 for the North Alabama market. What did home sales do in North Alabama post-election? We'll jump into that in this video, but before we jump into that, make sure you hit subscribe below to stay on top of all of the latest Huntsville, Alabama real estate news. We're going to look at the raw numbers for the North Alabama market here in just a minute. We'll also compare the different submarkets of Huntsville, Athens, and also Morgan County. But before we do that, let's just hit some of the highlights. Number one, to me, the biggest highlights is the Athens surge in average price. We are now looking at Athens at average home price above $16,000 above Huntsville. In 2024, they were kind of neck and neck going back and forth. Huntsville has really kind of given the throne over to Athens in terms of the highest average sales price, just really highlighting the growing appeal of this neighboring area to Huntsville, great school districts, and then also just a really booming town, an alternative to the Huntsville city life. Another thing to highlight is the days on market. Days on market continue to rise as inventory increased 9.2% year over year. That's really bringing us back to a supply level really last seen in 2018, so a couple of years before the pandemic. We're still below historical averages, but this is considered more of a healthy supply, stark contrast to the low inventory that we saw during the pandemic. The other big highlight that we saw was this post-election sales bump, as a lot of people were waiting to see what happened with the election. And then sales just took off in November as a result of that election being behind us. We saw a huge post-election bump, and we'll look at some of those numbers here in just a minute as we look at all the individual submarkets. But I think the big thing is this is signaling some strength going into the local real estate market sector as we move into 2025. All right, let's get into those individual submarkets. Huntsville, the main market, let's talk about that first. The average sales price was actually slightly down year over year, $4,000 from $382 down to $378. The big story, as we mentioned, across really all the submarkets is the number of homes sold. So there were 622 closings in Huntsville in December, which really relates back to November contracts post-election built up demand that occurred in November versus only 524 the year before. So a huge jump in November sales and really December closings. Big increase in terms of number of homes on the market year over year as well. 2347 versus 1811, which has just continued to increase the days on market to a more kind of normal market here in Huntsville. It just feels very, very unnormal compared to that pandemic range. Jumping over to Athens, the star of the show, the average sales price jumped, really leaped $47,000 from $347 up to $394. That doesn't mean the average home went up that much, in Athens kind of year over year. But what that means is there were higher price range homes that sold in Athens. It was up, kind of give you a comparison, up from 333 last month. So a lot of smaller starter homes sold in Athens in November, and then they had a big increase in a little bit higher price range homes in the December. Again, kind of that big story is the number of homes sold. A healthy increase in Athens, 194 versus 166. A lot more homes to choose from as well in Athens. 52% increase in homes on the market, 960 versus 697. A lot of this is being driven by new construction, a lot more land in that Limestone County market. So a lot of builders are gobbling up big tracts of land and building large neighborhoods. A lot of starter home communities in Athens as well, which is one of the reasons it's so impressive that the average sales price continues to outpace Huntsville, with a lot of these starter homes mixed into that equation as well. Morgan County has been one of the stars in terms of increased average sales price. It was pretty flat year over year, kind of like Huntsville. It was down $3,000, 266 versus 269 this time last year, but they continue to sell more homes. 116 homes sold versus 102. That's also a 46% increase in homes on the market. More homes to choose from. Again, more new construction going out that way as well. 478 versus 361 homes on the market. If you're an engineer and you love those stats and the data, we're going to jump into it. New listings, really flat year over year, 914 versus 914. But the big story is year to date, up 9.2%. It's made a drastic increase in days on market. Pending sales, 733 versus 713. Up 2.8% year over year, up 3.3% year to date. Really a flat market from 2023 to 2024 in terms of the number of sales. As we look at closed sales, was up 4.3% year to date. And really one of the main reasons it was up 4.3% was it had a huge jump in December closings, and really November contracts up 14.5%, 1,026 versus 896. November sales, December closings was a star of 2024. Hopefully that continues into 25 to really build off of that bottom. Kind of what you look at nationwide is 4 million resale homes annually is kind of the floor that you typically see, and that's what we've seen 2023, 2024 versus over 6 million in a pandemic market. Hopefully in 2025 we start to march back towards kind of more of a normal balanced market of about 5 million homes sold. Of course, we mentioned days on market increasing, 41 this time last year. Now we're at 59. I would really consider 59 a buyer's market. If you factor out the new construction out of this data, it's going to look a whole lot worse than that for resellers because new construction is kind of skewing some of that data as well. Average sales price increased 3.1% year over year. And then if you look at the entire year to date, it was up 2.4%. So our average sales price in this North Alabama market is now a little over 350, 356, 164. The percent of list price, that's what you want to look at if you're a seller and trying to determine how much negotiation room is going to be potentially in the negotiation of your home. I like to look at a 97% number being a balanced market. Anything south of that is probably a buyer's market. If you get down to like 95%, probably an extreme buyer's market. Get into the 98, 99, 100% range, that's definitely favorable more towards sellers. This number I think is skewed. We were at 97.9% this time last year, down slightly to 97.6%. But what that does not factor in is all the negotiations that new construction builders are offering into their homes, whether it be rate buy downs or fences or even designer credits. That's not showing up in that percent of list price. And so if you factor all of that out and just looked at residential sales, that number is probably going to be south of 97%, putting us in that buyer's market. So let's look at housing affordability. This is one of the things that really drives the overall economy. First-time home buyers, and it's really important for the city that your nurses, your police officers, they can live close to the city and buy a home to be able to service the city as well. So housing affordability, that magic number is a score of 100. That means the median household income can afford the median price range home. Anything south of that means you're less affordable. Anything north is you're more affordable. People can buy more home or have other disposable income for other things as well. So this time last year we were at 98. We've dropped slightly down to 95 as interest rates have started to kind of come up. Really kind of that post-election effect as well. So unfortunately we've come down slightly. Supply is also up year over year, 3.4 months to 4 months. You would technically look at that as a balanced market. 4 to 6 months is what you consider a balanced market. 3.4 this time last year is technically considered a seller's market. However, if you factored out again the new construction, just looked at resale markets, your supply is going to be up above that, which is really going to be considered more of a buyer's market right now, kind of going into 2025. Inventory's up. This is great news for buyers. We're really not to an unhealthy number in terms of inventory. We could use more inventory in this market. It is up 20.9% year over year, 3,363. Now we're at 4,065, over 4,000 listings down in this North Alabama market. So we're back to 2018 numbers. So 2018 was a kind of a good market in terms of supply, not really where you need to be, as compared to the prior years, but much better than the pandemic. So we're headed in the right direction when it comes to supply. With all that being said, with all the different numbers, every buyer, every seller situation is different. There's so many different submarkets and considering price points and school districts. We're the experts on that. We can help break that down for the sale of your home or for the submarket that you're wanting to buy in. Give us a call. We offer free buyer consultations. We also offer free listing consultations as well. You can give us a call at 256-333-MOVE or visit us online at mattcurtisrealestate.com.